Hey y'all, I thought I would holler at y'all a little bit. I've been kind of under the weather. All last week, I think, most of the week, I had kind of a stomach virus. But I trudged through the whole week and got a new booth selling furniture out at Ruby Cat's Antique Mall. I got all that pulled together. And then by the evening of Friday, I went to bed. And I've basically been in bed. Not that I was sick, it was just worn out. And I believe because of the virus, it had worn out my body, and I needed that time to recuperate. Even though I have been up and ready to do things Monday and Tuesday, but Miss Charlotte Jean's been sick. Pretty bad sick, so I think she's got some kind of a virus too. All that kind of stuff's going around now. Yeah. So I've had a lot of people to ask me, well, how did I get into talking about transgender things on the internet? Most of the people who know me personally, they know that I've always been into entertainment and art and music. I've always been into the arts for all of my life. And so I've always done something that sort of, went along with that. Even when I worked with mentally handicapped, I worked in the recreational department where I trained people on how to work with the mentally handicapped using day-to-day activities to help build their motor and gross motor and fine motor nerves in their bodies. So everything I've always done has been something to do with the art field. So yeah, so now that I'm winding down, we're selling the antiques and collectibles, and we've got booths in 2 antique malls already, and there's one antique mall that's fixing to open that we're planning to put a booth over there too. So I haven't really had that much time or desire to talk about the transgender stuff, only when it started touching me. But how did I get started talking about it at all? Well, I started doing videos on YouTube back in 2008. I did a lot of weight loss videos at first, and then I got into this group of folks that were doing comedy characters. And we had a whole group called the Comedy Crackpots. And we all made videos, and then we made joint videos. We had a really great community. And then eventually people started going their own ways and doing their own thing. And during the middle of that time, I started doing my Granny Mae comedy character. If anybody knows her, you can do a Google search, or you can do a search on YouTube, and Granny Mae will come up. Her channel is called Granny Mae's Place. That's where all the characters live, but she's the matriarch of a fictitious town called Beaver's Dam, Mississippi. Well, during that time, I developed a fan. I mean, we're talking up there, big-time fan. His name is Matt Alexander. And he just sort of adopted Granny Mae. And he was the one that actually talked me into taking her on the stage. Until then, she was just a video. So he got me interested. He got Vineyards interested in hiring Granny Mae. So he's been up there all along. But even during this time, he knew that I was trans because we had become close personal friends. He is gay. And so we just really had a good, close friendship. And, we traveled all over, me doing Granny Mae, New Orleans, and Jackson, all over. So we have been really close. But he's the one who got me into wanting to do a documentary called A Rainbow Over Mississippi. And it was about, of course, the LGBT rainbow. And I met a lot of the ones that were shaking and doing things, trying to get rights for the community. So I met all these people. So I started traveling around, videoing interviews with these people to put together as a documentary. And I went to my one and only Pride Parade in Jackson, Mississippi. It was so cold on February that day. But it was fabulous. So I got to meet a lot of those people. So that's whenever I decided to come out online as myself, because up until then I had websites, but they were created by Yasmin Jabbar. That was who I went by online, Yasmin Jabbar. So I had done lots of support websites where I interviewed people like Lady April Ashley, the big names, even the person that's a member of Parliament in New Zealand. I interviewed her, Georgina Byers. So I really had a great time, but everybody knew me as Yasmin Jabbar. And I only used pictures of me that were so far back I did not look anything like that. So it wasn't until after I did the Granny Mae and got in with Matt that I started coming out as myself, as Diana. Well, at the time, I was Diana Jabbar still. I had not married my current ex-husband. So by the time I actually started doing videos talking about being a post-op transsexual, it was later. And I didn't really care if I was out. My husband knew, even though to his family he said that he did not know, to save face. So I did not try to contact any family members that I knew to correct them, because he has children and everything. Why should I go messing with that just because I want to slap his lights out? And I do want to slap his lights out. But that's another story. So I've always wanted to help the people the best way I could. But I realized when I was doing my websites that as soon as they started getting any amount of websites, because when I started, they were very, very, very few websites. Yeah, Lynn Conway's the one who told us we needed to start making these websites to give these girls this information they needed. But once they all got the basic information, they didn't need you anymore. They knew everything. So I couldn't help those people. They would tell me I was a dinosaur to sit down and shut up. There's no such thing as transsexual anymore. That's an outdated term. If you would read about the definition, transsexual happens to be under the umbrella called transgender. It doesn't say that transsexual is transgender. It's under the umbrella of transgender, the same way cross-dressing men, transvestites, autogynephics, and all these other gender variants that fall under that. So they can say